On October 5th, 2014, Madtown came into the K industry with a bang with their title track, YOLO, a hip-hop and rap song, genres that were popular during that time. To name a few, Block B, VIX X, and BTS were following this formula and were fighting for the top spot with YG, SM, and JYP groups. Sadly, Madtown fell behind in this competition. The group consisted of Moose, Daewon, Lee Geon, Joda, Haeojun, Buffy, and H.O. Coming from a label named J-Tune Camp, which was originally created by Rain, the boys actually met with moderate success. Many second and third generation fans were aware of the group due to the group members' hard work for recognition. Labeled as MBLAQ's brother group, fans were excited to be introduced to the members. Prior to the group, two members of the group Moose and Buffy were part of a rap group named Pro C that became a subunit after Madtown's debut. Moose had been a trainee at J-Tune Camp since 2006 and was about to debut with MBLAQ in 2009, but was replaced by Thunder. Buffy had been a trainee for 3 years. The two in the meantime would work as backup dancers. In K-pop, trainees are not paid as backup dancers, and it is part of their training program to gain more experience. Lee Geon and Daewon had been childhood friends, both attending Cheonan Technical High School, and it was Daewon's idea for Geon to audition for J-Tune Camp, and shockingly, both had passed. The rest of the members trained for 2 years and also worked as backup dancers in the meantime. Their debut EP, Madtown, peaked 11th position on Gaon charts and sold a little over 2.3 thousand albums. On March 11th of 2015, the boys came back with New World. Their album Welcome to New World and outdid their debut album, peaking on the 7th position with over 2.8K albums sold. In 2015, they were fairly active and released another title track called OMGT. 2015 to 2016 was the busiest year for the group, especially Joda as the face of the group. The public was mesmerized with Joda. How could an innocent face and tender heart hold so much strength? Jota was part of the Law of the Jungle in Tong and We Got Married. Alongside starring in other dramas, Jota could have been titled as one of most popular male idols with the success that came from these shows. Madtown members at some point were asked if they were jealous of his success, and H.O. jokingly said, "Of course, even my parents love him more."
지금 내 목소리
노래방.
내일 그댈 찾는 나의 마음을 바라보면 쏟아지고.
On June 20th, 2016, unbeknownst to the group, it would be their last comeback. Emotions was their third and final album with their title track, Emptiness. The song did much better, selling over 5,000 albums in Korea and over 10,000 in Japan. They were getting the recognition deserved. In February of 2017, J-Tune Camp was officially closing and sold Madtown's contracts to a company named GNI Entertainment. MB.LAQ, which was Madtown's brother group, had their contracts terminated instead. Many thought MB.LAQ were being mistreated and the company was a sinking ship. Go, who was one of the members, expressed his frustrations to fans when the company wasn't allowing the group to release mini-albums and hold a fan meeting since their last album, which was in 2015. JTC would never respond to the members' concerns, even when Go suggested he would pay for the fan meeting himself. He was puzzled by the lack of concern from the management team after years of hard work to build a name for the no-name company. Was MBLAQ thrown away to focus on Madtown? For fans, it was a sigh of relief that Madtown was gone from JTC. But Madtown never came back after joining the new company. The situation was equivalent to falling into another hole after getting out of one. The only statement that was announced was when childhood friends Daewon and Lee Geon came together on the unit. The boys were dressed in tracksuits instead of fancy clothes like the other contestants. It stood out to the judges. From there, it was learnt that Madtown only existed because of the members' will. GNI Group was run by a man named Seong Cheol-ho. His company was a facade to loot large corporations, actors, and broadcasters. From June 2015 to February 2017, he embezzled around 60.1 billion won from over 1,200 investors. He would do this by calling himself a US-educated man, a stock investment expert, guaranteeing his customers an 18 to 100% profit in a year. He would promise his investors monthly dividends and their principal back. Principal is the initial investment an individual makes, so it looked like the investors were not losing any money. And dividends is the amount of money shareholders earn depending on their level of risk. Obviously, the money didn't go towards stocks. It went towards his lavish lifestyle. In order to safeguard his reputation as a reputable investor, he would buy venture companies. It also went towards his graphic design team, who photoshopped him with SoftBank's chairman that he'd use to fool his investors. Unfortunately, one of his venture companies focused on the entertainment industry. In 2017, his entertainment division had acquired Madtown for around 300 million won. The intentions were not to help Madtown succeed, but to make him and his company look good behind this Ponzi scheme. Madtown was a pawn to GNI, and JTC didn't research the company they sold the dreams of young men to at all. Prior to this, Seong Cheol-ho had spent his time in prison for other charges and actually had bought GNI Group from another inmate who he befriended in prison. The only reason he was able to carry this plan for so long was that he paid the monthly dividends to his investors and held the money by saying he knew when the right time was to buy the stocks. But sooner or later, the Ponzi scheme had to collapse and he was arrested for fraud and was sent to prison for 15 years. Seong Cheol had hid his assets, and that was exposed when his son's friend stole his money, and his son had to literally call the police over the money his father stole. When the police arrived, they found stacks of money in his home, and he was investigated too. It's reported the chairman's other son was arrested in 2018 for aiding and abetting fraud. So it's safe to say the whole family is rotten and needed to stop being a wannabe chaebol. Because of the company abandoning the idols, everything had to be done by Madtown members. At this point, Jada was his own manager, driving him and his staff to his shoots. He also paid for the vehicle, the oil, and his own place to stay. And when he would inform the chairman, he only cared about Jada paying him more money. Practically homeless, it's speculated that one of the members Buffy enlisted just so he can avoid being homeless, as Daewon was so grateful that he had a place to stay while being on the unit. The contract's expiration date was set for October 5th, 2021, and there was no use for Madtown to be stuck with GNI Entertainment. Their office space was sold, no dormitory, and no human resources ever given to them. Managers and executives fled after the arrest of the chairman, and so in September of 2017, they filed an injunction and a lawsuit to cut off their contract with GNI legally. Even though GNI Entertainment had disappeared, it had not dissolved. In case GNI was bought by another company and Madtown had already signed to another contract, the members would not be sued for breach of contract. Their lawyers stated how excited Madtown members were to blossom in the new era of recognition they got and want to continue under a different company together. In November of 2017, the court ruled in favor of Madtown, and they were released from their slave contract. Sadly, this ended Madtown altogether. A year spent apart from each other, with their own endeavors, trauma, and challenges, the boys just wanted to better their tomorrow. The men moved on to signing with different companies and enlisted in the military, and time flew by. It's been almost 9 years since Madtown shared the same stage. Ho, the maknae of Madtown on a live stream, had spoken up about the fact that idol life is not something he recommends. About 50% of the group's earnings were taken from the company, and whatever was left got divided between a group of 7 members. Around 470 grands was the debt they were in each comeback, and they barely made any profits. We can only hope Madtown members have made peace with this situation, have found love and hope in this awful world, and continue to do things they're passionate about. If you'd like to hear about more cases like these or other K-related content, please do like, subscribe, and comment what videos you like to see next.